Yeah, I've been thinking about that a little bit. Mainly like about the small towns and like the things that like we talked about the like barren areas between large areas, like the resource sparse areas.
Mm,
And I was wondering if like we even really need a spot on the map and maybe like those E scenes are all we really need for those kinds of places.
right. I think certain places they're not going to have like a town. They will have like a little node on the map with a road leading to it, and maybe they'll have their own little merchant that hangs out there or something, or a squatter, or maybe there's like a bandit there who will ambush you when you walk in, and it's something that might be story independent or could even be an opportunity for you to pick up a new NPC or something. Uh, so I think with those nodes, we'll have opportunities to surprise players when they might be
Yeah.
expecting for nothing to be there. Ugh, sorry for the sniffles, guys. Still getting over the flu. Uh, that's actually been my catchphrase over the last few streams.
Sorry for my sniffles.
Still getting over the flu. I should put that on a hashtag when recording.
Your hashtag is medical
Yeah,
status.
streaming. Hashtag still getting over the flu. Hashtag double play. Hashtag indie dev.
Hashtag taking the Advil.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, I took my Advil, I took my leave, got my Mucinex inside of me. We are streamed up and we're ready to go. My immune system's firing on all cylinders. So chat, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about all of this. We haven't done a terribly good job of answering all of them. We've been getting through this information, but we're going to be having this stream up until about 5 o'clock. So over the next 50 minutes, if you have anything you want to ask, anything you want to say about the game, if you want to tell us that it sucks, if you want to suggest that maybe instead of Tony Hawk, we do like a Bob Burnquist game, you know, Bob
That would be
Burnquest.
awesome.
Do you guys like Bob Burnquest for that?
Oh my god,
Uh,
this is great.
MZ is G status. Jew balls.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if that's a question.
I
Should I
think he's referring to Matza.
Matza?
Oh,
All
matzo
right,
balls, you mean?
right.
Mm.
Hmm.
So Matza.
Mm.
Is this like word association?
Yeah, we gotta think ahead of the case, ahead of
So
the
now
game.
we've got matzo balls and we've got breadhead in the chat. I think we're getting a little too starchy. Our moral fiber might be compromised shortly.
That was terrible, man.
Thank you.
That was terrible. Oh,
But
that's great. Yes.
I didn't want to say it. I'm glad someone else did.
Um, well, since we're kind of done with this folder, at least for now, unless someone wants to add anything,
Nope.
Nope.
and we'll bring this up to Christian when we get to talk with him next time. Uh, let's let's just briefly go through and think about how we'd have towns interacting. I think I'm very attached to this being how we sort of represent our towns. Maybe not as vertical, but I think the verticality works really nicely for this. Um, this scene specifically. Um, I know that this was an example that you wanted to do, Cody. Uh,
yeah, that would be more of the kind of stylized perspective view, I guess, and it would really it would work well with anything that's on like a hillside or that like is a more vertical sprawl.
yeah,
We could also do a completely flat city that way, but it's got it's got its pros and cons definitely.
yeah,
The the ortho view really clearly defines the city, the paths you would take, all sorts of things like that. It'd also probably be a quicker. It'd be you could probably do more of those
well,
in a shorter amount of time.
yeah. I think of this as more of like and I think of this more of as a cut away from the ortho, as a subsection of a town, or perhaps just as its own Like instead of representing a very big town in multiple sections, if we have something that's more mid-sized like this, we just go straight to the stylized side perspective for it.
Okay, so like a piece of a town.
Right. This is a piece of a town, or a small town that doesn't have multiple pieces, to me, at least. The
Yeah, and something. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You,
Something else that it's intriguing to me would be if you have all these, if you have multiple races or cultures in a game, they would each have their own representation of how a map or the town would look.
that'd be cool.
Like you would maybe see this as like maybe how the like a dwarven race or like a goblin race would design their maps. Whereas maybe the humans are more technical, they would have like these blueprint style ortho maps. It's just an idea.
No, I think that would be cool. I mean, obviously we'd have to get some examples so that we can try and keep the art style
Yeah,
as similar as we can without you know compromising the differences. That could be very interesting to explore. The thing I'm looking for, I know this is one of your drafts, but the thing I'd be looking for in a side view like this are places on the map that, as a player, I think I'd be able to interact with immediately. The ones that draw my eye because of the lines you've included are this spot and maybe this area here. But I don't have very many other places where I would intuitively click. And I think that the way we represent it to the player is you hover over the map and you look for things that are highlighted when you get your cursor over them. Then you can click them to go to certain scenes.
yeah, that's one way. Another way you could maybe a lot of top-down games like Diablo and Baldur's Gate, you could hold I think Shift or Tab, and then everything that's highlightable would highlight.
Huh. Interesting. So, well,
It kind of
huh.
it kind of gets rid of the mystery of like trying to find things, but it would be useful. Maybe it's an item you could get.
Yeah, maybe. Because what I want to do, or what I think would be interesting, is if you had, I think I've mentioned this before for you guys, but for the sake of the viewers, I think it'd be cool if you had like a little I Spy kind of interaction with the map where certain things will be hidden. Now, I definitely understand that some players will just do this as soon as they get to the town, where they drag their cursor across every inch and watch for everything to light up. That's not really what I want. So we'd have to figure out some other way of doing that. Or maybe
Maybe
they would just,
something
yeah,
maybe some things are like situational, like it won't be there until a certain thing is done.
right.
Like maybe you don't know, you can't find the secret bandit's hideout until you find the map to it or you talk to somebody.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like that one concept I was talking about for that town with the big spire in the middle of it that casts a shadow depending on which side
Uh-huh.
the sun is on. I think like certain areas of that town when they're blacked out, for instance, when you come here and you see the side view, like there'd be a shadow cast all over this area, and it might highlight that this thing is now interactable over here. Or maybe there's a little highlight over in here that you could click on, or something like that. But yeah, maybe what we do is we just have all the things you can interact with immediately be highlighted, and have like one secret thing every once in a while hiding in the villages that isn't highlighted, and then other things that are situationally sort of coming into play.
Yeah, it actually kind of brings. Have you ever played the Professor Layton games?
No, but I've heard they're very fun.
They are, and it they kind of have this splash image that you can drag your stylus over and find. I think they're called like hint tokens or whatnot. So you would drag your cursor around, and then certain things would sparkle, and they would. And if you clicked on it, you would get like a hint token. You'd be able to get a hint for whatever mystery you're working on.
Cool.
But it kind of works the same way.
Yeah, I think that would be fun, or at least it'd be interesting for the player to kind of diversify our town interactions. So it's not like you're just going in and clicking on things while you're there. It's also that you're actively engaged in looking at an area, at least the first time you get there. We should also consider competing factions of merchants within certain large towns, maybe in different districts, or a mission that pertains to giving one the edge over another, something like that. And one of the cool things that we can do with our maps is if we have something like this, for instance, where it's a town that's split up and there's a merchant on this side and there's a merchant on this side and there's a merchant on this side, and we give this merchant side the leg up, we could show this side dwindling and have those merchants completely leave or go to another city or something like that.
That would be neat, and it could also affect like maybe the crime in that area. Maybe you'll have more encounters with like thieves or whatnot if one side's declining.
Yeah, and maybe most of the narrative focused stuff happens on this side, but the better items are on this side. So if you choose to support this merchant, it would be easier for you to access all the quest stuff you have to run into. But if you choose to support this one, you get better items out of it. So we're creating a tension within the world for the player. Do they want better items, or do they want easier access to the quests? Something to consider at least. What else do you guys are you guys thinking?
Uh, Whether there's point and click elements of the scenes.
You mean like the E layout?
Yeah,
I think
like could I have a moment where basically I trap the player into a scene where nothing happens and they know they have to click something for things to happen.
I think that's what the dialogue's going to be at the bottom. Like if you have dialogue options, that's sort of your point and click element. If you know, if you get what I mean. Like, I'm not saying that we couldn't do it. Certainly we could. We could introduce an element of point and click into those scenes too. Um, but
I can see how. Sorry,
go ahead.
sorry, Kirby.
No, I keep interrupting. Please.
David's idea kind of it would be kind of neat if you're in an area like say you're trapped in a cave and you had to like click on a loose rock to like dig yourself out or something.
Yeah, I just wonder if well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Well, I mean, it's starting to sound more like a point and click adventure
Right.
when we start talking about stuff like that.
I mean, we already have elements of point and click adventuring is the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess what I was thinking, what Logan I think is thinking as well is not to put words in your mouth, but if we have the elements of point and click in the overworld map, then that's one thing. But as we start proliferating them through different parts, it becomes a larger like genre style kind of system within our game.
I was thinking, like, I'm the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it came up in something I was writing for the Cavalier, and I thought it might be good, but I didn't want to assume I could do it to last. So, like, I was only using it as the way that all the other clicks have been used in all the other maps, and that you can click something and it gives you an observation. Not necessarily that it creates like a new map or anything like that. It just might do something, but wouldn't need like any extra UI or anything like that. It would just need to be something they could hover over and click.
Well, what we need to do then is make it obvious to the player that that's what they need to be doing. So there'd have to be another instance of it before that happens. Sort of tutorial instance where it's intuitive that the player should click on something that's in the background or something else. And then later on, when it becomes pertinent, we don't give the player the indication that it's there and they sort of have to find it themselves. But if we do it in the Cavalier, then it's something that we should probably move to other classes as well as a mechanic that we're using, because using it as a one-off doesn't really make sense. Bring it as a feature and then not use it elsewhere. It's going to feel discontinuous for the player. I was talking about this earlier with the Cabaretto, since we're streaming. I figure I might as well bring it up again. If in the Cabaretto's skill tree at rank 2, we introduced the concept of reducing max HP, and we never comment on it again. It feels like when a plot thread is introduced in a novel and it's never resolved. So, in the same way, if we introduce features that are sort of one off and we don't come back to them, I think it feels the same way for the player. Where if players really like that sequence and they don't find it again, then they're kind of unhappy because it's something that we didn't fully utilize if it's a tool available to us. Whereas if they don't like it and it's one off, it just kind of feels like something we threw in. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I catch your meaning.
But I don't know. I think that's something that we should try once we have more of like a build on our hands, or
Yeah.
if you have like a sort of if you'd want to storyboard it out or something like that.
Okay, I'll think about it. It's not like my main priority with the story right now. It's just something that occurred to me because I knew how maps worked all of a sudden when I was revising a little bit, and then I was like, oh, this might make sense. So, yeah.
Good. Something to maybe take this further, or actually, what we should probably do is take this meeting that I bought at this meeting and distribute it to everyone else who wasn't able to attend. You got something else on your side, Dave?
Oh, is it good now?
Yes.
All right.
I think we should send this out to everyone. Cody, were you going to type something?
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, send it to everyone on the rest of the teams, and perhaps make this information especially available to the writing team because it's the most pertinent for them. It's coming through again from the side. Your mic is trying to pick up when you're not speaking, so it just increases its volume until it hears something. Or we have a friend's mic that does that at least. Something that Logan and I have been working on that sort of kind of relates to the map, at least. I don't think it's tangentially necessarily, but that's probably because we work in design, and gosh, we're so important. When you're on this map, and I'll go back to the previous screen. I don't know why I keep on leaving it. When you're on this map and you're in a location and you're going up against the PvE environmental court kind of, I know that's redundant, but when you're going up against the PvE, the bestiary we were thinking should probably reflect the location that you're in, and we want to get like at least 5 different subtypes of areas to cover everything, like the shoreline, the forest, the mountains, the desert, maybe the tundra, something like that. And so we started going through and realizing that, okay, well, if we have these mobs occurring within a forest biome, then they have to be balanced against each other, and all of the design has to kind of work fluidly. But if we do that, then there has to be a certain amount of mobs in each zone, such that they can work together in that way, and there is diversity, and it feels to the player as though they're not just fighting the same mobs over and over again. And the number we came to, at least for the forest area, was 6. If we have the shoreline, we have 6 as well. Then that brings us up to 12 creatures in the bestiary, just covering 2 biomes, which would be a tremendous amount of work to animate all of those different things, all those different creatures. Also, to do the concept work for them would be very annoying. So for the demo, we sort of need to think about what our pipeline is going to be for the bestiary, for random enemies, random humanoid enemies, how they're going to be animated, how many different skeletons we can reuse, in which ways we can reuse them. Because otherwise, I don't think we'll have enough for players to go up against when they're playing.
We could have reoccurring enemies that have some kind of vendetta or something and get away with that. Like some random like gang association or like So like enough narrative thread in order for us to be like, oh, okay, this is why we keep getting attacked by people who are wearing the same clothing or something like that. It's because we're in their territory or we're wearing this certain clothing or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think we will have mercenaries and the like. We need to figure out how many different types we're going for. Like how many different reskins we're gonna do for each type of model. How many we can get away with before a player starts to feel like things are redundant, um, or they're reaching a level of redundancy. And then also Cody, since you're doing a lot of the concept work or most all of it, I know Frank has done some, and perhaps will expand to do more. But since you're doing the concept work, and I know that you love creature design, I still wouldn't want to put like 18 beasts to design on you. Dropping that would take more than a month. It would take probably about 2 months for you to complete. And then it would take another month for Frank to go through, at least a month, maybe 2 months for him to animate. And that puts us 4 months from now with nothing else done.
Right.
Um,
Are you talking for the demo?
yeah, I'm talking for the demo. Yes. So I think we need to kind of pick and choose which ones we think are the most interesting, um, which ones we want to sort of put in, maybe 3 per biome or something like that.
We could also
Yeah, that's
have
a
prefabricated encounters, as in it's kind of in a sense that, oh, I want to test out a PVE battle, and you can choose that, and it will let you choose from prefabricated encounters with specific monsters.
For the demo, are you
Yeah.
saying? Um, yeah, okay, we've never really discussed the demo, but what we're trying to do with it, Logan, is make it as close to a preview of how the actual game's going to run as possible. Like you'll play
Mm.
through the actual narratives or approximate narratives of the classes that are included. You'll move across the map as we're talking about now, and you'll be actually fighting PvE encounters. So the choice of having like a PvE level or something like that would be one that the player is making diegetically.
for the demo purposes. I think we could probably get away with a couple maybe expected mobs like wolves and bandits, and then a couple unique ones that really kind of pique the player's interest. So like, what else could be in this game?
Right. No, I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. Have to figure out how the base mobs are going to be designed to be interesting, but that's more of a design thing than an animation thing. I will say that the one thing is that most of these creatures won't have too terribly many animations to make. It's not like they have 10 abilities each or anything like that.
Yeah.
You mostly just have to
So,
give them an idol and then.
yeah, some like other games get away with having your characters animate, and like the classic Final Fantasies would have static images for the bad
Enemies.
guys.
Yeah.
I know that we haven't thought about that at all, but it's an
If
It's a
idea.
good fallback.
if your enemies can move, we would have to design enemies that don't move for that to make sense, and it would feel a little bit jarring when you go against human enemies that can when the creatures don't. If that makes sense.
Oh, because we'll be using some of the models for players.
Right. Like, let's say I'm playing through and I am up against something that looks like an approximation of a Lost Rider or something, and I run into it in battle. That's
Okay.
obviously going to make sense. It's going to have its own tactical reasons for wanting to move around in the rows. And so when we have that, it'll stand in stark contrast to the static images that you've been fighting against before. And I don't think any
Yeah,
player
I
can.
agree. That would be a weird disconnect.
Yeah. I mean, all stuff to discuss, of course, as we move forward, figuring out what our boundaries are if we're trying to hit this deadline of May still. Now, something else to say, I haven't said this to the rest of the team, but if we have to, we can always try and stretch the budget to push this back to September or something like that. It's not what I want to do, and it's not something that I think will be viable for continuing as we were doing. But it's an option for us if we have to take it.
Hmm. I was looking at the budget the other day and thinking about that. I was like, oh, things happened. Yeah. Programming things happened specifically, but
Right.
also budget things too. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a bad thing. Like, if this is the rate we develop, this is the rate we develop, right?
I I agree with you. I think we're doing fine. We're heading out at the speed that we should be, and in fact, our current program is much better, much more efficient, very talented. Has gotten
Good.
things done.
I can't wait to see what he's coming up with.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very excited to use the build too to start inputting items, which we need to work on at some point here, Logan. Maybe that instead of maybe we'll do bestiary work at the beginning of tomorrow, then get into weapon design. But yeah, I think we're much better off, especially after having talked to New Christian about the
New
veterans code.
New Christian is only Christian.
Yeah, I agree.
New is it Christian and Old Christian or New Christian and Old Christian?
Flat.
Mm, New Testament Christian.
Cute. Okay, so unless anyone has any other questions, I think we've covered everything that we needed to on our stream today.
And it's about a half hour, really.
Yeah. For everyone still watching, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, we would love to answer them now, and we'll even answer non-questions like Jubal's.
Yeah, I thought we already discussed that, though.
We did, yeah. We won't re-answer it, of course, but new questions that are similar, of course, we'll address. I'm gonna take like the next 3 or 4 minutes to see if anything rolls in. If not, thanks so much for watching, and we're happy to stream to you guys today. This is where our theme music should start like kicking in, slowly fading in. Justices compositions rather. Okay.
How large is your dev team?
How large is your dev team, and what roles are being used? We have.
I have no idea, actually.
We have 7 primary positions. We have 2 artists, a concept artist, and an animator. We have a writing team that is properly 2 people, composed of a lead writer and another guy who's serving a similar capacity. Our design team is comprised of myself, and of course Logan's on that team. And then we have our programmer and a sound guy. Now, when I mention people like Logan, we have a lot of people working on the team who are not working in primary positions. Sometimes from like intern positions, or they just haven't fully joined the team yet because we've had some turnover so far. And so I think the size of the team is going to grow a little bit, expand a little bit in the next few weeks or so. But we have our base is fairly covered so far, and we should be able to push through on our deadline as long as we're working interminably long hours over the next few months.
The rate at which we've been working, I think, we can get it.
Yeah. I think if and also we'll be streaming every day, just about all of the. Well, for now we're able to stream just about every day the design work that we're doing, but I guess within a month or so we might have to change our time slot. But I hope that answered your question. And thank you for asking it. just click through the concept art while we're hanging out.
Oh, I mean, we're glad to stream for you guys. Definitely, we like sharing what we're doing.
Yeah. David Reed's well, Diet Snapple flavor. Well, first of all, crazy Ivan, this is such a great project to follow. Well, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that. Hopefully, we follow through on the promise that we think it has, and you guys enjoy it when we get the demo out there. Oh, just to be clear, we're gonna release we're gonna release our demo for free with the Kickstarter. You guys won't have to pay anything for it. We don't want it to be that way. If you like the game and you want to support us, please do. But we don't want you to have to pay for something that we're in the process of sort of learning how to do, how to construct, how to make real. And so we hope that you'll kind of learn with us, and if we do any sort of good job of doing that, then we've met every expectation that we set forward for ourselves. Now, as for the very, very important and incredibly pertinent question of my favorite Diet Snapple flavor, when I was younger it was Diet Peach, but now I'm really gravitating toward the Diet Raspberry flavored.
Diet.
I can't stand just regular Snapple.
Why? It's so tasty.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've been drinking Diet for so long. I think the chemicals have bonded to my receptors,
And now you don't know how to taste actual flavor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fact addict, so I can't help but pop the top and look and inhale those phenylketonurics or whatever are inside of them.
That sweet learning.
Yeah, basically.
Deep breath of knowledge.
Snapple fact: 475,000. Did you know that the most recent president of the United States is Barack Obama?
I didn't. Oh.
Wow. God, that's so topical. But yeah, if you guys have anything else that you want to ask too, don't let our ramblings get in your way. Well, I'm sure ramble out an answer as well. And also, I don't know why I stopped clicking. Wasn't he a Mortal Kombat character?
He's actually coming back in Mortal Kombat X.
Is he?
Actually, Baraka is totally coming back in Mortal Kombat X.
I like Baraka a lot. He's a great character. He's one of my favorite.
I was a Baraka
Were you?
player. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just sliding across the stage and impaling people, and then doing the little doing the monkey with your claw things.
Yeah, the little like cat fight, like scissor attack.
Yeah.
I like playing Rain.
Gosh, Rain is just one of those characters that gets under your skin. It's like a Sector kind of does the same thing. I was just a random button mashing fiend. Yeah, I used to button mash too. I'd play Striker, and I found this one thing where I could like move from one side of the stage to the other with my nightstick, and then shoot you a whole bunch of times just by hammering buttons. And
so I just did that and I won.
Yeah, basically.
I believe that's an actual police move too.
Yeah, the nightstick thing.
Yeah, nightstick slide.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
I see real cops doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Much more effective than the gun, but you know.
Yeah, they just open their car door and just slide out with their nightstick.
Yeah, it's kind of like got a drifting appeal to it.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna end a little bit early today. If you guys if you got in after we started and you want to check out the video afterward, it'll be in our past broadcasts as soon as we end. And we actually have a pretty sizable stock of highlights now and some replays on our YouTube if you're at all interested in those. So anyway, if you want to learn more about the project, those are there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we always tweet out when we're... Gosh, I can't use those words in that order.
Tweet out when we're streaming?
We hashtag tweet, whenever we're hashtag streaming.
Okay.
And if you want to hashtag follow our hashtag development, we'd be hashtag obliged.